Okay, hi everyone. So this is video number 2 in what I'm labelling the conservatory series of our little videos. So yes, last video talked a bit about the weak dictator argument. I'm going to deal with another little bit of historiography today for you, but this time it is the Hitler myth. Okay, again. There'll be a little bit of reference to this in the reading book that Abby's made, but just wanted to run it through just so we're all on the same page with it. Okay, right, so first question, what is the Hitler myth? Okay, so the Hitler myth can be summarised, I would say, in that red phrase there. Okay, so the Hitler myth is the carefully cultivated propaganda image of Hitler. Propaganda is a huge feature of the Nazi state, okay? Propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels, an extremely significant individual in the rise of the Nazi party and in the German state following 1933, okay? And what Goebbels has done is he has used propaganda to create a broadly accepted image of what Hitler is, what he believes, what he's doing for Germany. And that can kind of be separated out into some of these key features here. These are some of the key markers of the Hitler myth. So first of all, Hitler is Germany. Okay, that's essentially what the myth is there to build. He embodies, he personifies the German people and Germany itself. Okay, building into that, Hitler has this kind of natural understanding of what the German people are, what they believe. He knows what their concerns are. If you kind of look to primary source evidence of Hitler throughout the 1920s, when he's kind of making all these speeches against Versailles and against the Weimar government, you get a lot of people's reaction to that being that finally someone is speaking for me. And the Hitler myth definitely builds on that. Hitler kind of has this innate understanding of the German people. So that's another key feature of it. Hitler is the defender of Germany. So whether that be defending Germany against kind of the international threats of Allied powers when it comes to the war, or whether that is against the threat of communism in the East that may spread into Germany, whether that is the defender of the racial Aryan people against the Jews, for example. So Hitler is the defender of Germany and the German people. And also, the Hitler myth, a big part of it, is that he's good at all of this. He's good at being a leader. He is successful. So some of the things that will be pointed towards here is that Hitler transforms the German economy. He brings about an economic miracle in Germany following the Great Depression. That's a big part of the Hitler myth. That he is successful in terms of his foreign policy. I referred to that a little bit in the last video I did about the weak or strong dictator argument. And, you know, there is a lot of evidence that he is successful for a significant period of time in overturning the Treaty of Versailles, which was still extremely hated and controversial in the 1930s. So those are some of the key kind of messages of the Hitler myth. Right, I've got a little quick question for you and I want you to pause the video and think for a few minutes. From everything that you've done so far, why do you think the German people, or a proportion of the German people, would believe these things? So can you think of anything about the German people's experience leading up to 1933 or since 1933 that would lead them to buy into this? So if you pause the video for a couple of minutes and have a think and get a couple of ideas down. Okay. Right, so hopefully you all got a few ideas down to this question here. Why might the German people believe the Hitler myth? Right, couple of things that come to mind. Hopefully you've got some of these down. We talked already, I've talked in videos before about this, about the fact that the German people politically were used to an authoritarian style of leadership. So they were quite accepting of this idea of the strong leader again. And Hitler fits that. So that might lead them to buy into the Hitler myth. The disaster that Weimar Germany had been in lots of people's eyes, the depression, the collapse of governments all the time. They were really ready to buy into what they were used to again, authoritarian rule. The fact that that Hitler plays on long-term grievances, so the long-term hatred of Versailles and the end of the First World War and mistrust of the West, Hitler builds on all of those things, so they're already susceptible to feeling like that. There's Roddy, and he plays on that, definitely. And then the last point, he is successful. So noisy, that dog. He is successful. So whether it's with the economy, getting Germany over the depression, whether it's with foreign policy, he's got things he can prove that the Hitler myth is a reality, because he is successful. Roddy? 1 second. No. Come this way, please. Okay, so, right, last little bit on the Hitler myth then. What effects does it have? So why is it important that people have believed this? Right, first of all, we can find evidence that Hitler, as a result of the Hitler myth, becomes more popular, because people buy into it, that he becomes a more popular individual. And what that does is that because people buy into the fact that he is so true in his intentions for what he wants to happen in Germany and that he wants to protect the German people, he is sort of protected, really, from failures. People don't believe that that's his fault. That can be the fault of a minor individual or a minor government player. So it kind of insulates and protects Hitler, the Hitler myth. But there is a negative that we can draw on the Hitler myth as well, in that you could argue that Hitler starts to believe the Hitler myth as well. It's all fine for the German people to believe that he is infallible, but if he himself starts to believe that, that could be significant in him starting to make bad decisions that nobody challenges him on, and then become policy, and that leads to great failure. And probably the best examples of that is the latter part of the Second World War, where Hitler himself completely believes the Hitler myth. He's had all of these successes in foreign policy. He's a genius in foreign policy. He believes that, and he starts to make bad decisions. He doesn't recognise that that is his fault, but instead blames the implementation of his ideas. So you could argue that he becomes a victim of his own propaganda. Okay, so Hitler myth, just a little short one. Hitler myth, another sort of area of historiography and debate and argument that historians have looked into. Okay, apologies for the annoying dog there.